Why is that? My name is Jared Wilson, and from a man's perspective, I'm happy to share my journey with the hopes of changing these statistics for the better, while uncovering the challenges and opportunities with all relationships. It doesn't matter if you're single, in a relationship, it's complicated, you're engaged, married, or divorced. Let's talk about it. Welcome to The Walk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now in episode 10 of The Walk. Welcome back. So happy to have you here with us, I should say. So we are on couple and family maps. So we've been on a whole journey from why pre-engagement counseling and the importance of it, to talking about communication, to talk about leisure activities, to financial management, to how to deal with difficult conversations, to sex and affection, all the way through into relationship roles and expectations for marriages. And now we're talking about couple and family maps. So, at this point, I couldn't be more proud of the progress that you have made, the seriousness that you've taken with this to make sure that your next relationship's your last one, to make sure that you've empowered the relationship that you're currently in, and as well to make sure you have a place to go to, because things always continue to happen. Just as much as Kira and I have been through this, we continuously have to make sure we go back to the beginning, review information, rewatch some of these videos, and make sure we're always on one accord. So it helps us in terms of being aligned at all times. The importance of the couple and family maps and what we're going to be discussing here is really two things. It's one, to talk about closeness and flexibility, because now you are at a point where you're about to become married, or the relationship's to the point where now you're involving other aspects of your life that normally you keep private, such as family. So there's two concepts I want to make sure we understand very clearly before we get into this activity for today. The first one is closeness. Closeness is how emotionally connected you feel to your partner and family. So closeness, I feel emotionally connected, to Kiera and her family, her sisters. I have relationships with them just outside of her, where we are not even just cordial, but we're cool. I care about them and look after them, just and vice versa. The second term is flexibility. How open the couple you guys are, or your families are, to change. Because just as much as you may feel a certain way, your family may feel different. And I'll expand upon that. The reason why we're talking about this is because I want to make sure I don't forget my two facts for today. Fact number one, which is really a statement. Many couples argue over the holidays about how they should split their time. That is one of the most common arguments when the holiday season comes, is how are we going to split our time? Do we go to your parents' house for Thanksgiving? Do we go to my parents' house for Christmas? Number two, 61% of couples argue over holiday spending. So it's something else that comes up that touches a little bit back in financial management in that video, but very much is something that you want to make sure you're aware of. But those are two facts to just show how much even just being around family and holiday time can actually cause more stress and damage than it does not. So the purpose of what we're going to do in our activity is talk about closeness and flexibility. So how closer we are with certain people and how flexible we are during certain situations. What we're going to do in our activity is really a couple discussion, which just means you guys are going to talk about the questions and answer them for yourselves, not individually and come together, but at one time. And the purpose is really just to demonstrate how flexible your families are during certain situations. So let's take a look. So the question is, how close and flexible are your families during family members' birthdays? Is it a big deal in your family that each time somebody has a birthday, the entire family needs to come over? We got to have cake and balloons and presents. We have to go out to dinner. And how important is it that you guys have to be there? That's something that's real. B, dinner time and mealtime. Was it very important in your household that everyone must gather around when it was dinner time and nobody could eat until everybody was seated at the table and grace was said? Or was it a situation where when it came to dinner time, everybody just came at their own leisure, got the food, went to whatever room they were, and you didn't see each other? Holidays, which is a very important one, like I mentioned in the facts. Which holiday is the most important for your family? Was it Easter? Was it Christmas? Was it Thanksgiving? Do you have to spend it with this family? Is one holiday more important than another? A good one, which is very apparent too, which is caring for sick family members. In the event one of those situations occur, maybe you're seeing it with grandparents. What is the expectation of your family of you? Is the expectation that you're going to put them in a nursing home? Is the expectation that they're going to come live with you? Is the expectation that you're going to have to take time off work to do X, Y, or Z, or travel perhaps? Those are conversations that's just important to happen because that's real life, but yet you and your household still have to run. And then we'll say E, handling discipline and parenting responsibilities. Now, that's a great one because we just talked about it in children and parenting in the last video. But it's one that, once again, when you're involved in families, what are those expectations like? So I know for a couple examples with Kiera and I, we were long distance for a long time, and her being from Ohio originally, me being from the DMV, the first time we came across holidays, it was like, okay, my family and how we're super tight knit when it comes to holidays, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. I expect that I'm going to be with them during both those holidays. For Kiera, because she had been living in different places other than Ohio, she was already used to trying to travel back and forth for the holidays and perhaps missing one of the two. But just as much as it was important to me to be around my family, it was just as important to me to make sure that she had opportunity to spend time with her family. And just as much I had the opportunity to spend time with her family too. And so just as much as it could be difficult for me, we made a decision, all right, we're going to go to your family for Thanksgiving because everybody else is going to be there, and we'll spend Christmas, or actually we did the reverse. We spent Thanksgiving with my family and we spent Christmas with her family. And just as much as I missed my family during that time, it was just as important for me and for us to make sure that she's able to have that time with her family too, and for me to build more closeness with her family. With us living in the DMV, it's a lot easier for me to see my family than it is for her to see hers in Ohio. So you want to have that conversation to make sure you're being fair during those circumstances. As you're answering those questions, what you want to talk about is what was similar, what was different. How satisfied are you with your relationship's closeness and flexibility? If not, what can you do to increase or decrease the closeness and flexibility in those circumstances? So, do you need to have conversations and explain to your mom, hey, mom, I love you, but I'm not going to be here for the holiday. I'm going to tell you 6 months in advance so that way you can mentally prepare. Maybe it's I don't like the fact that my family wasn't close during dinner time and we were always watching TV and never actually engaging in conversation. I want that to be different. Make sure you have those conversations. The last activity that we're actually going to talk about on the flip side has to deal with goals and relationship goals, like I mentioned, because you guys are now at that point where you have a lot of the tools and resources. And I said it, as I said in the first video, I'm not a professional. This is just my opinion and me sharing tips of what's worked well in our relationship. And from a man's perspective, what I'm seeing and how I view things. Definitely take full advantage of going to counselors and having these conversations because they're going to be a lot more in depth. You're going to get a lot more, we'll just say, material that you can utilize. But the last thing I want to touch on is as you have all these things and you're building it, the ultimate goal here is that you want to make sure you and your relationship are moving in the right direction. And nothing helps a relationship more than having goals. The reality is people who write down goals are 97% more likely to achieve them because it's written down. So the last activity we're going to do is another couple discussion, but you're going to do these ones individually and then come back together. And that's setting relationship goals so that way you guys have each other's back and can best support each other going forward. So you're going to have 3 different categories. You're going to write down your top 3 in each category. The first one is top 3 personal goals. So write down what your personal goals are. Your partner will do the same individually. Number 2, or the second part, I should say, is top 3 couple goals. So what are your top 3 goals for you that you believe you guys should have as a couple? And they'll do the same on the flip side. And number 3, what are the top 3 family goals? So you're going to do yours, and then your partner will do the same. And just to give you examples, personal goal could be I want to lose X amount of weight. A couple goal could be I want us to save X amount of money. And number three, a family goal could be essentially I want us to spend X amount of time with family, or I want to go visit grandparents. I want us to go on a group vacation, something along those lines. You're going to come together, and of course, what you're going to do is discuss what was similar, what was different. And more importantly, how can you contribute to each other's goals? So back to that personal goal. If it was, I want to lose X amount of weight, how can I help you? Can I work out with you? Can I hold you accountable? Can I work with you to eat healthier and we both do it collectively? Maybe it's a couple goal, all right, we want to hit a savings number. All right, well, let's run the numbers and determine what we can cut back on as a couple to hit the goals. And then lastly, what is the first step that you can make right here, right now to help make that goal a reality? And that's really important because it's really helping you guys buy into each other and all the things you love about each other and want to build with each other. So it's very good. That's how you get to relationship goals. It's more than just posting selfies and looking cute. It's actually the real work that goes behind it, the hitting the goals. And so with that, that is about it. Couple and family maps, goals. We've gone for a whole slew of information here on the walk. Definitely continue to, ask questions, put comments. We'll do a viewer's question video as well. There'll be a couple of sub segments that I'll touch on in upcoming videos too. So make sure you check it out. Until then, Jared Wilson from The Walk. Peace.